Hello and welcome to the Dream Big podcast. This is your host, Olga Karpman, but I'm only doing an introduction today because we decided to rebroadcast for you a very, very special episode that Eva recorded more than 100 episodes ago, but it's still so good and I want you to hear it, especially at this special winter holiday season. It's all about dreaming big. It's all about how dreams become reality. And of course, this is the perfect season for us to remember just that. We will broadcast today 209th episode with Lewis House, where Eva was asking him interesting questions and he was sharing how he was going down dangerous path in his childhood and how embracing his dreams and goals changed everything for him. He also going to tell you how career-ending injury killed his dreams of playing in the NFL, but ended up changing the course of his life in a positive way. And of course, the story of how Lewis became a confident speaker. You, of course, will hear it during this interview. Make sure to stay till the very end to find out what was his biggest dream. I will give you a spoiler. It's been on the show of one of the famous people and how long it took for that dream to become a reality. Here is episode 331, Big Dreamers. And it's time to dream big.
Welcome to the Dream Big podcast show. We're inspiring you to shoot for the moon, take aim and go. We bring to you amazing guests who truly love what they do. Every day they're living their dreams, and so can you. Dream big, take action to reach your goals. Are you pumped yet? It's showtime, let's rock and roll.
I'm beyond excited to introduce you all to Lewis House. Lewis is host of the School of Greatness podcast, which has over 100 million downloads and 1,000 episodes since it launched in 2013. Actually, Lewis was one of the inspirations for me to launch the Dream Big podcast. My parents would often listen to Lewis House and another podcaster, Tim Ferriss, in the car. And finally, I asked why there is not a podcast where a kid interviews amazing people. And of course, the rest is history. Lewis is more than a podcaster. He's a best-selling author. He was named by the White House and President Obama as one of the top 100 entrepreneurs in the country under 30, and has been featured on Ellen, The Today Show, The New York Times, and in other major media outlets. We had an amazing conversation, which we actually recorded on video. So we will be publishing the interview on YouTube as well, if you would enjoy actually seeing me and Lewis have the discussion. Without further ado, it is my honor to introduce the Big Dreamers to Lewis House. Let's roll the tape. Hi, Lewis.
What's up, Eva?
Thank you so much for coming to the Dream Big podcast.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
So before we dive into what all the amazing things you've done as an adult, I'd like to talk a little bit about what your childhood looked like. So I know that in one of your talks, you shared that when you were 8, your brother got sent to prison and you yourself were heading down a dangerous path and you were stealing and just doing bad things, but that all turned around when you started to dream. So can you share a little bit about that time when you started to dream and how important are dreams and goals?
I truly believe without a dream, our life is just not going to be as fulfilling and happy. And dreams give us a sense of purpose. So without a dreams, we feel like we have a lack of purpose. And that's what I felt like I had early on, where I was just like, why am I here? What's the point? I kept getting into trouble. I didn't think anyone liked me or loved me. And without those dreams, it put me down a path of just thinking negatively about myself and questioning why I'm supposed to be alive. And so that's why I think it's really important to shift from a lack of dreams to start just having a sense of wonder, having a sense of curiosity about what could be possible in the future. I don't care if it's 50 years away or 5 years away, but what's something that I would like to do that excites me now? Having that mindset got me changed the course of my life, really, because I started to take action on those dreams. I started to work on myself. I started to play sports. I started to do more positive activities as opposed to negative ones that were getting me into trouble. So dreams have been a huge part of my life. It's still a big part of my life today. I don't feel like I've grown up. I feel like I just keep dreaming.
That's amazing. And obviously, since this is the Dream Big podcast, I love how people take action on their big dreams. And when you have big dreams, you don't really have the time and energy to focus on doing bad things. Instead, you focus on making your dreams a reality.
That's it.
So, speaking of dreams, I know that your first dream was being a professional athlete, and you were playing Arena League football, and you were actually on your way to going into the NFL when you had an injury.
Mm-hmm.
So, what did you feel when you had that injury, and how did that actually change your life for good?
I felt purposeless. I felt like my dreams were over. And since I didn't have other dreams, I went back to that place of when I was a kid thinking, what's the purpose for me to be here? Why am I supposed to be alive? What am I supposed to do next? What's the reason that this happened? And I think that got me back to a place of introspection. And sometimes our dreams don't happen. Sometimes we have plans and goals and dreams and we go for it and they don't happen. And it's our job and our responsibility to find meaning in why they didn't happen the way we wanted to. Sometimes they happen perfectly. Other times they don't. And that time of getting injured, of losing my dream, of just trying to figure out who am I in the world again, when my whole identity was wrapped around this dream that no longer was there, I had to create new dreams for myself. And I think that's important for us to always be thinking of new dreams so that we have something to look forward to, that we have something to work towards every day. Without those dreams, we start to have those bad thoughts again, those negative thoughts about, what's the purpose of even working hard? What's the purpose of being disciplined? What's the purpose of eating well if none of this even matters? And so it's finding the meaning when the dream doesn't happen. And then, okay, what can I learn from this experience and create a new dream from it?
That's amazing. And big dreamers, there was an amazing lesson in Lewis's answer. Your big dreams won't always go according to plan. They will sometimes fall apart, and sometimes they're forced to stop because of injuries or whatnot. But we can always adapt and evolve and find new passions. And your
Absolutely.
big dreams definitely will happen.
Exactly.
So, when you decided you were going to switch from a career as an athlete to essentially being a teacher, one of the skills that you realized that you needed to have was public speaking. And in one of your talks, you said that you were initially terrified of public speaking. So you joined a group called Toastmasters. So can you share the process of becoming a good speaker and how it's really important?
Yeah, I mean, when I was your age, there's no way I could have done what you're doing right now. I didn't have the confidence in myself. I didn't have the skills. I didn't have the courage. I didn't have any of that stuff that you have. So you're farther ahead than me and most people in the world. Public speaking really gave me, I remember just feeling a sense of, if I don't ever get over this fear of public speaking, then I won't be able to achieve my dreams. I won't be able to give myself to achieve certain dreams I have. And so the decision to be a public speaker was more of a need of necessity of overcoming the fear first. And I didn't ever think I would be any good as a speaker. I just said, I don't want to be afraid to speak in person or in public in a group of people. And so I sent out and joined Toastmasters. And I went every single week for a year, and I practiced a live speech in front of a group of about 15 people every single week. And I would study it, and I would research it, and I would practice it. And I was horrible. I just I felt humiliated a lot. I felt like I wasn't good enough. I felt like people were laughing at me. But the act of me constantly showing up and practicing to overcome my fear, eventually I became a better speaker. And with being better, gave me confidence. And that confidence didn't only support me in public speaking, but it supported me in other areas of my life as well. And that's why I think it's always important for us that on our journey towards our dreams, we will have fears that we need to overcome. And the earlier you can overcome your fears, the easier the path will be to achieving big dreams.
What an inspirational story, Lewis. And you're right. You really need to push yourself outside of your comfort zone to achieve your dreams. Like I remember when I was little, when I was up till when I started the podcast when I was 7, I was terrified of speaking like at all. I would go to a restaurant and not want to order any food because I would be too scared to talk to the waiter. But then I started the podcast and I started doing it with my mom, and then I did it by myself, and then I audio only at those times, and then now I'm doing them video, and I also went on stages now, and now I can speak on stages at Nike headquarters in front of 4,000 people, and just speaking, confident speaking has really helped me. And it's baby steps, but you need to get started somewhere, right?
Absolutely.
So when you were younger, people tried to define you as an athlete, but you had so many interests. You were in a musical, you knew how to salsa dance, you didn't drink alcohol. Can you share the importance of not letting other people define who you are?
I feel like one of my dreams was actually to never be in a box. And I think as I grew up, I was, again, a tall looking athlete. And usually with the size you are, the skin color you are, the activities you play, music, math, sports, people start to define you as this thing. He is an athlete, which means he is not smart, or he's not good at anything else. He's only good at this one thing. Or she is a math student, which means she's, smart, but she's not athletic. We put people in boxes. And I think as a child, I just never wanted to be in a box. And that was one of my dreams, was to always do the opposite of what people would assume I would do. Just more maybe for fun, just to challenge people, to make people be like, oh, wow, that's interesting. I didn't know you could sing. I didn't know you could play music, the guitar. I didn't know that you could salsa dance or be in a musical. I did tap dancing classes when I was in high school. I constantly just tried to do things that would make people think differently about me. And I was also curious about it. So that was one of the reasons why I decided to do those things. I just never wanted to be in a box. And I think the importance of that, it gives you a range of skills as opposed to just focusing on one thing all the time. Having a range of things that you're interested in makes you a more interesting person. I also realized that I could connect with other people in a much better way. Because I did a musical, I could talk to people who've done musicals. Because I tried salsa dancing, I can connect with an entire culture that likes to salsa dance. And so it also allows you to have more empathy and compassion for other human beings.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much to be passionate about. Like I myself, most people don't know how to unicycle, so I decided I'm going to learn how to ride a unicycle. And then cool. I love animals and I love doing the podcast, but I really love, I have chickens in my area, which I was even surprised at that. And then I'm trying to get a duck now. So,
a duck.
So I honestly, love that. Just being passionate about so many things. Yeah.
I watched a video. Being
passionate about so many things is amazing.
Yeah, I watched a video the other day on ESPN about a woman named the Red Panda, who is I guess it's a unicycle. She does the unicycle for NBA halftime shows, and she's created an entire career for 30 years around doing the unicycle and some other tricks that she does on a unicycle.
Crazy.
So your mom and you should YouTube the Red Panda NBA and watch this video. It's really inspiring.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, we'll definitely do that. That sounds really cool. But yeah, there's so many things to be passionate about that so many people can be passionate. So I heard you say in an interview that you make it your mission in your life to do as much as you possibly can for other people. And here's the key: without expecting anything in return. So why is it important not to expect anything in return from people?
When you have expectations, you're not doing it out of generosity. You're not giving out of generosity and wanting to see others succeed or improve or achieve their dreams. You're doing it with the expectation that they'll do something similar value or similar amount of work for you. And there's a time and a place where in business potentially or in your career, you might say, hey, I'm going to do this thing for you. Can you help me with this thing? And I think there's other times where I've seen over the last 12 years of working in my business and career that the more I give without expecting anything in return, it typically works out where it comes back to me, either from them or from someone else. And I think there's people that will take advantage of you and never want to give anything in return. And you may not want to give as much energy to those people, but the key is to find people in your life that want to help you, you want to help them, and you're not keeping score of who's doing more effort.
Yeah, that's so powerful. And big dreamers, I can tell you from personal experience that this works. The reason why I'm talking to Lewis right now, and last week I interviewed Mark Cuban, is because my whole goal is getting your guys' voice to our big dreamers to share your wisdom and let you impact more lives. And I love seeing my big dreamers just keep on growing and growing, and also overcome their public speaking and seeing them watching them grow. So I heard that you were on Ellen DeGeneres' show 2 times, and I heard you say that being on Ellen's show had been a long time dream of yours that you would always visualize. I was hoping you could touch on 2 things: the power of visualization, and 2, the power of the need for patience. When did you start visualizing being on Ellen's show, and how long did it take for that to happen?
I think I started visualizing around 2008, 2009, when I was injured, sleeping on my sister's couch. After my dream ended of playing football, I got injured and was on my sister's couch for about a year and a half while I was trying to recover, heal, figure out what my next step would be in life, figure out my new dreams. And I would watch her show and see all these big celebrities dancing with her before they came on. And I just thought, wouldn't it be interesting one day if I was doing something in my life where Ellen would want me to come on her show? And that idea was planted in my mind, that visual idea of me being on her show, me being interviewed by her, was planted. And I remember just thinking, okay, this isn't going to be something I work towards every day. It's like I need to get on Ellen, because I think that sometimes will push you away from it. But I just said, I'm going to go work on being valuable in the world. I'm going to go do something I love, do something I'm really good at. I'm going to do it with a lot of passion, with the desire to helping as many people as possible. I didn't know what that was yet, so I needed to discover it. It took a few years to really figure that out. And the more I focused on my mission of helping people, of creating stuff that I enjoyed, the things that I was good at, the more my exposure grew, my audience grew, and the more that opportunity came to me. And so I think it took about, 7-8 years for it to happen.
Wow.
And it was fun to have a full circle moment, from an idea in my mind to a dream to seeing it come true. And I think those moments are important for us to visualize something we want and to see it come to fruition. It's not always going to happen. It might take a lot longer than we want, but the more we visualize it and more we see things come true in our life, the more we start to see the power of how we can manifest our dreams, how we can make our dreams happen, how they can happen faster. So visualization is something for me that I do all the time, just because I think we need to see and experience it in our mind first before it actually comes true. Because if it comes true without ever seeing it before, then sometimes we become nervous. We have this, we weren't expecting it, and we don't expect something. Sometimes it flusters us. So I just like to be as mentally prepared as possible.
I was wondering, of all the themes of your podcast and all the stuff you put on social media and all of your content, is the power of gratitude. You mainly focus on the power of gratitude. So can you share why gratitude is such a powerful emotion and how it's changed your life to practice gratitude daily?
Yeah, I just feel like gratitude gives us a sense of peace. It gives us a sense of love, of perspective of our life for where we're at right now. And I feel like it's very hard to make your dreams come true without being grateful for what you already have. Typically, when we want something more, something bigger, something grander in our mind, if we're not grateful for the little bit we have right now, then usually big things won't happen for us or to us. And so that's why I wake up every morning with a sense of deep gratitude for where I'm at right now, because I don't need anything else. I can be happy with where I'm at. Now, I want to achieve more. I want to dream bigger. I want to make these things happen. But I think the idea of gratitude makes me grounded. It makes me feel appreciative. And that energy of appreciation, perspective, just allows me to bring in more good things. So it's a way of thinking. It's a way of life. And it brings me a sense of peace, because if we're not grateful for what we have now, it'll never be enough when we have more later, because we're going to say, okay, I achieved this, but it's not enough. I'm not grateful. It isn't the way I wanted it to be. And we're going to always have that sense of a lack of gratitude. So yeah, it's something I do every morning. It's something I do every night. I try to do it with all my team members throughout the day. It's just a daily practice.
I love that, Lewis, and I want you to know, and my parents would actually often listen to your podcast and Tim Ferriss's podcast, and we loved your content so much that we thought we should do it for kids. So we started the Dream Big podcast in 2016, and then we launched the Dream Big Academy in 2019, and It's such an honor to actually get to chat with you.
Oh, it's amazing. I'm so happy to hear that.
So you've already made many of your dreams a reality, but if you look at yourself today, what's your big dream for the future?
My mission's always been to impact 100 million people a week, to help them improve their life, to help them improve some area of their life they feel like they might be struggling with, the challenge with, whether it be in their relationship with themselves, the relationship with others, their physical health, their mental health, their financial health. And so I'm always focused on creating tools and information to support people improve their life. And the big dream would be to reach 100 million people a week, because that's something that would make me look back at my younger self and be really proud of, that I was able to use myself as a tool to help others. And again, if that doesn't happen, I'm still happy with where I'm at and grateful with where I'm at. And I think that's the key to life, is focusing on being grateful with where you're at. And of course, having bigger dreams and going after those dreams, but knowing that it's not always going to happen the way you want it, and being okay with that as well. So that's my current dream. I've got a lot of other projects that I'm working on, but that's the main mission and dream.
That's wonderful. And for our very last question, I was wondering, where can our audience find out more about you?
Yeah, they can say hi to me over on TikTok at Lewis or over on, social media anywhere, Lewis House.
Well, thank you so much for coming on to the Dream Big podcast.
I appreciate it, Eva. Thank you so much.
Bye. I just loved that interview. So much fun chatting with the great Lewis House, who I have been listening to ever since I can remember. And he shared so many nuggets of wisdom, from the power of gratitude to doing things for others without expecting anything in return. I love it.
Did you like this interview as much as we did, Big Dreamers? I hope so. As always, you can find our show notes at dreambigpodcast.com/331. And of course, you will find there all the links to Lewis' website and everything else we discussed in this episode. And if you do love our show, and if you do love what we do here, interviews and solo episodes with Sophia, please make sure to review us on iTunes. It really, really helps. And if you send us a note on email, that would be great as well. Sophia loves to read those. Olga at Dream Big Podcast. This is how you can find us, Olga at dreambigpodcast.com. And you can find us on Instagram as well. Dream Big Podcast. We read all your messages, and of course, you can see our stories as well when we post them. Thank you so much, Big Dreamers, for tuning in and listening to us every week. And of course, we want to remind you that you have unlimited potential. Your dreams are not optional, and you need to make them essential. So take massive action to turn those big dreams into reality. Live with passion the way life is meant to be. We'll see you in the next episode. Bye.